A month before I moved into my first home, Seth published this video of him building out his garage. He showed how simple it was to create a space to work on and store bikes. This video alone gave me the confidence that I could do the same thing in my own garage. And I did. Over the last 3 years of owning my home, this space has become the set of my own YouTube videos. This was a big deal to me as I had never in my life made anything like this. It's kind of embarrassing, but I'd barely even used a drill before. But I didn't let that hold me back, and using this video, I was able to create something basic and functional. The layout has gone through some minor changes and tweaks, but I found something that works best. But with my channel continuing to grow, I needed to freshen things up and have a bit more of a professional look for when I'm shooting videos in here or doing live streams. So just how I did it in the first place, I picked a day and got to work to improve my studio space. The first thing that needed doing was painting. The slightly yellow tinge made this place look dingy and gave bad lighting. I hired a local painter to come in and spray the entire space a fresh white colour, and this immediately made it look brand new. I also had the floor painted purely to minimise the dust that was being created by the bare concrete. There was nothing wrong with my workbench and desk, so I gave them a similar treatment to the walls and gave them a new stain. Unfortunately, it doesn't make my garage smell of rich mahogany, but who knows? Maybe if you subscribe to this channel, we might get there one day. The workbench has moved from near the door to this corner where the desk is. This should make lighting it a whole lot easier and make better use of the space overall. With this, I needed to create a new tool wall and get rid of the pegboard that looked pretty dated. After going through some options, I settled on doing the pine tongue and groove option. To improve the look, I stained them with a cool grey finish, and I'm a big fan, even if I didn't realise I had to stir it properly at first. Oh! I secured the bench to the wall and stacked up the slats, which turned out better than I expected. Then I put back down the foam mats I had for now, but they've become pretty manky at this point, so it's time to get some new ones in black. The black ones seem to hold their colour a little bit better for longer as well. Putting some drawers under the bench was a must, but after looking into how to make them myself, I figured that an easier solution would be to grab a tool chest and put that underneath. This husky one fitted pretty good and left some space at the side. I also put some foam mats underneath to keep it securely in place. But the thing I was most excited for? Having a vise. No idea why I didn't get one before now, and I guess we can call this a real workshop for the first time. I screwed in lag bolts in 3 of the 4 corners, then used a bolt and nut on the final corner. In case you weren't aware, this is why I attached the bench to the wall. If I was going to truly have a dream setup here, an air compressor is a must. Getting tubeless tyres inflated is pretty simple nowadays, but the compressor makes things even easier. Initially, I wanted to have the hose reel attachment on it for the true elite status, but for some reason, none of the attachments actually attached to it. This confused myself and my housemate Dan no end, so we gave up and got this other kit that had a hose and everything we needed to use it. And the first time I turned it on, the grin on my face was pretty real. It also slots in perfectly next to the tool chest. Time for bike storage, and having them hanging up on the wall is the ideal solution. I wouldn't want all the tyre marks to ruin the clean wall either, so I grabbed these sheets of acrylic glass which should keep things looking good forever. No idea what it is behind the lower part of this wall, but the wall studs disappear halfway down. If there are any building experts out there watching, I'd love to learn why. With it being such thin material to screw in, we custom made some screws that would work better. But after putting a few in, I didn't really like how the screw looked. But after some, what would you call this, Googling, I found out that what I was looking for was something called finishing washers. If you thought I was a punter on a bike, nothing compares to how I am with DIY. I put these in and we were ready for the top hooks. But before that, I wanted to get the computer back up and running so I could live stream again. The old setup of light and mic stands around the desk always annoyed me, so I needed a better solution. After more painful Googling and searching in hardware stores, I found that these pipes would be perfect to rig up lights and cameras on. I was sure that the perfect clamps existed on the internet, and I eventually found these impact mount clamps that were perfect for lights, and also this camera clamp, which is made by a brand called SmallRig. This means that I'll be able to get more angles than ever for videos and reduce clutter in this area. A photographer friend educated me how I could use the loft ceiling as a light bounce to get way softer light, and this is why the lights are pointed up like this. I would also realise that I needed the camera lower down, so I placed another pipe rig in between the 2 monitors and it was perfect. You'll see this appear as the video goes on. Woohoo! Cables go down a hole in the back of the desk that I expertly bodged after I discovered it initially wasn't wide enough to put a plug through. And with that, the desk area is finished, looking tidy and smart. Feedback Sports sent me a bunch of their Velo hinge hooks, which was very kind of them. I like how subtle they are on the wall, and most importantly that they fold out one way, which should make it a lot easier to store the 8 bikes that live in this garage. Yep, it's a stupid amount of bikes, I know. I stained a 2x8 that was the perfect size for the hooks, the same colour as everything else, and measured where the bikes needed to go. We figured that having the top of the hook 11 inches underneath the loft ceiling would give just enough room for a 29-inch wheel, and screwed the 12-foot long piece of wood in place. The first hook went on and we checked our work.
That's gonna be perfect. Let's see it, Dan. First time, first try. Oh,
Dream.
hardly any gap. Thumbs up.
Perfect. We also need to get into this cupboard to turn the hose on and store things, and the pivoting hook made it so much easier to get in and out. Now how to space them apart. What I should have done is figured out how many hooks we needed up here, taken 3 inches off for the final hook, then divided that number by the amount of bikes that we needed up there. But I made it as complicated as possible, and in the end settled on 20-inch gaps, which was the same result as how I should have calculated it in the first place.
He's a heavy boy. Come on, hold. Please hold. Please hold. Please hold. Gentle. On the way down. Oh, look out. I have to turn this one in.
This allows 8 bike hooks to sit on this beam comfortably, still being able to access each bike with ease.
Oh, the dream. That's so cool. Will Dan's monster fit in? Come on, Dan. Yeah. Look at it. It looks so sick. Yes.
We loaded the bikes on and then got the pivot just right so that they all fitted in neatly and they look so good. Easy to move, easy to mount. I think the feedback hooks are a winner. For regular subscribers of the channel, you'll know that Dan used to own a bike shop in the UK. So he was the best person for the job when it came to arranging the tool wall. What kind of YouTuber would I be if I didn't display the 100k award that I never thought I would get in a nice prominent place? Thanks again to everyone for subscribing and following along my journey of getting better on a mountain bike. Now this black handle came with the tool chest and I cut the end off to make the perfect shock roll holder. And with some leftover slats, I made this box to house my Whistler Performance Lubes necessities like the fork boost. Oh, some of you may have noticed that they are currently sold out of all of their products. But in a couple weeks from this video being published, you'll be able to hit the link in the description and use code PUNTER20 for 20% off everything on their store. And I highly recommend picking up the fork boost as it's an easy way to keep your suspension running smooth. Feedback also sent these pretty flash T-handles and Dan made the perfect holder for them and some other tools. Easy to access and it looks so pro up on this tool wall. I figure that every gym mat in the world must have been ordered during lockdown. And as the new black mats that I ordered started to arrive, we could put the shelves at the end of the garage back into position. I thought about changing this setup, but they perfectly hide the garbage bins out of sight and there's nothing wrong with them. I put up some more pipe and light mounts and set up what I was particularly excited to start using. Alexa, turn on the lights in the garage.
Okay.
That's cool.
I used to be pretty annoyed at turning these lights on and off, so I'm pretty stoked on this new voice activated option. In the background of any live stream, you can always see this top storage area, and it annoyed me how untidy it looked. The simple solution of putting some curtains up not only solves this, but also helps with the acoustics in this space. I do have some phone soundproofing, but it would negatively impact the lighting, so I need to think if I truly need it in here, or if there are places it would actually work. But for now, I'm happy with how the curtain helps. Lighting, lighting, lighting. It needs to be good wherever you are in the studio. So I invested in these mega beacons of blazing glory. And they were also heavily discounted on B&H Photo, which was a bonus. As these are so much more powerful, I can bounce them off the ceiling of my garage and they'll help illuminate pretty much any area where the camera is pointing. The pipe and impact clamp combo holds them up perfectly as well, even though they're a lot heavier than the other lights. So here it is, the newly renovated Punter Cave for all future livestream and big view generating garage videos. We have an area where we can work on bikes and livestream from, arranged neatly and easy to get set up for a session. The plethora of bikes are up on the wall, and we even managed to sneak my road bike in between two of the other hooks. They're out of the way and accessible for whatever ride, whenever you need to go and get it done. The walls are clean and the space is lit up effectively, wherever you are standing. This reboot was a long time coming, and I can't wait to start using my garage to make more videos for your viewing pleasure. So hit subscribe if you aren't already, and if you enjoyed this expert DIY show, then hit the like button. I really appreciate it. But most importantly of all, make sure you watch it twice. Cheers punters, I'll see you next time.